Hello everyone, welcome back to Ayumilove channel for another Awaken era content. In today's video, I'll be reviewing the new hero that I have obtained during the summon event, which is Bachelard. He's a legendary fire hero, and he's recently introduced on 27 April 2022 along with the Dark Dragon Asrina, the Dragon Elf. And let's check him out. So this is Bachelard. He's the Wind Leopard, or also known as the Fire Leopard, where he wields a fire spear and attacks the enemies by throwing these fire spears on the enemy. So basically in this review, I'll be covering what are his skills and how they work, what are the stats to prioritize based on his skill set, what are the recommended gears for Bachelard, what are the heroes that synergizes well with him, and based on all of this, what are the best areas to use him, and finally to answer the question whether you should summon him during this 300% rate up based on his performance in the game. And before I begin, if you enjoy my content, click the like button to show your support, and if you like to see more content in the future, click on the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay up to date whenever I upload a new video to this channel. So let's get started. So to refresh everyone, so basically Bachelard has this trait known as the Undying Embers, which allows him to negate all damage that is taken whenever the enemy counter attacks his attack. And when this happens, he'll self-buff himself with this damage up that increases his damage output by 30%. And if you set him 5 times, he will get this damage up version 2, which increases his damage output by 50%. His fire spear is his basic attack. So basically, he will deal 70% to an enemy and applies ignite for 2 turns. And if the enemy is affected by a negative effect, which includes his ignite debuff, he will be able to launch another basic attack, which means that he will be able to apply 2 more ignite debuff. And this is his special ability Power Burn, which allows him to apply a defense down, which is a negative 30% defense if the enemy doesn't have any debuff. And if he has, you apply this minus 50% defense. And finally, this is his ultimate ability, Fire Strike, which allows him to deal 2 attacks. One is the mini version, the 40% damage, and finally the 140% damage as the ultimate attack or the final attack. And he launches up to 4 combo attacks depending on the number of negative effects. So let's say assuming that you use Bachelard to apply 4 ignite debuff, then he'll be able to launch 4 combo attacks. So let me demonstrate him in the guild boss to show you how his skills work. And before I go there, let me quickly show you the gears that I equipped on him, as well on the stats that I prioritize. Alright, so here are Bachelard's total stats. I prioritize on the attack, critical rate, critical damage, and focus. Attack and critical rate and critical damage is needed for him to deal high amount of damage through his skills. And currently I have 3757 attack on him, over 100% critical rate, and 242% critical damage. He needs a high amount of focus to apply the ignite debuff, and he also needs some speed to go before the enemy turn. Alright, so this is how I geared Bachelard. He's currently equipped in a curse set and guard set. Curse set allows him to have a 35% chance to launch a bonus attack through his basic ability, whereas for guard set, it grants him a shield equal to 30% of his max health. So in case the enemy tries to nuke your team with their ultimate ability, then Bachelard has a chance to survive that nuke. Let's check out the official guide from Ace. Currently they are recommending Warrior set, Curse set, and Rebel set. Warrior set is quite good because it boosts his attack by 50% per Warrior set, and this allows him to deal more ignite damage on the enemy. Curse set allows him to apply more ignite, which is also useful. Whereas for Rebel set, I'm not so sure about this. Probably the more bonus attack triggered by Bachelard, it perhaps improve the chances of applying the stun, since Rebel set only has a 20% chance to apply. And in order to use Rebel set, you need a high amount of focus to apply the stun. And having a high amount of focus reduces your damage output, because you need to prioritize on the focus rather than on your attack stats. So let's quickly go through the equipments that I have equipped on him. So this is the weapon, and he has all of the 4 essential stats to make Bachelard useful, which are focus, speed, critical rate, and attack. He requires focus to apply the ignite, speed to go before the enemy turn, critical rate to deal critical damage, and attack percentage to increase his ignite debuff, as well as his skills damage output. And you'll notice this similar pattern for the remaining equipment. So this is the helmet with some critical rate and critical damage. Ideally, this will be an attack percentage for more damage output. This is the chest plate with some attack, critical rate, critical damage, and focus. This is the attack boots with some focus, speed, and critical damage. This is a critical rate ring with some focus and critical damage. Ideally, this one will be an attack percentage, health percentage, or defense percentage. This is the attack necklace with some critical rate, critical damage, and resistance. I will recommend to get a focus percentage instead of resistance. And this one could be replaced with a health percentage for more survivability, since his defense rating is pretty low. His glyphs and abilities are all maxed out. So now we have a Bachelard here. So currently the guild boss does not have any debuff on him. So let's see how his basic attack fire spear works. So this basic attack deals 70% damage to an enemy and applies ignite for 2 turns. And if the enemy is affected by a negative effect, then launches another attack with a basic ability. So let's check out if this basic attack triggers another basic ability if the enemy doesn't have a debuff for the first time. So this is only one attack, and now the boss has 1 ignite. Alright, so let's try again. His fire spear. It should launches his another basic attack. So this 1 attack and the second attack. So now the guild boss has 2 ignite debuff here. Okay. So now let's test him out with his fire strike. Fire strike ultimate ability, which deals 40% damage to an enemy for the first hit, and then additional 140% damage to the target. So I believe that the 140% damage to the target would be the final damage. And based on the number of negative effects on the enemy, he launches a combo attack per negative effect. So max 4 combo attacks. So currently the boss has 2 debuff, which is the ignite debuff here. So there will be around about 4 attacks. The first attack from the 40%, then 2 more attacks from the 2 ignite debuff, and finally 1 final attack, which is the 140% damage. Let's try it out. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And 1 bonus attack from the curse set. Alright. So let's try out his Power Burn special ability, which is on the 3-turn cooldown. This one deals 120% damage to an enemy and applies defense down for 2 turns, which is the version 1 that decreases the enemy's defense by 30%. Whereas if the enemy is affected by negative effect, which is currently he has around about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ignite debuff, he'll place the defense down version 2, which reduces the enemy's defense by 50%. Alright, so it places the defense down 2 here, so the enemy will receive more damage. I'm not able to test the trait here because this trait relies on enemies that is able to perform the counter attack. And from this demonstration, we know that the damage up buff will not be triggered unless Bachelard is being attacked when he's when he's attacking the enemy. So when he attacks an enemy and the enemy counter attacks, only then will trigger this damage up buff. So let's do another quick battle on Banker to see how much damage output he can deal in a team with a team of a guild boss team here. Alright, so I'll be rerunning the guild boss again using this team instead of Thomas. I use Bachelard as my defense down hero and replace Thomas with Hector for extra damage because Hector is able to apply the increased damage taken. So for this team, I have Bachelard, Garrel, Brand, and Hector. Alright, so here is my 3rd attempt on the guild boss. Alright, so here is the alternative approach on how to score high damage on the guild boss, especially on the wood element guild boss. I have Bachelard, Garrel, Brand, and Hector. Bachelard is here to apply his ignite debuff as well as the defense down. Garrel on the other hand will be my main pure damage nuker. Bran is here to provide the attack up buff to increase all of my attackers' damage output as well as shield to increase their sustainability along with the defense up buff. And Hector is here to apply the increased damage taken on the enemy so that the enemies will receive more damage. And apart from that, Bran is able to apply the attack down to decrease the damage output from the enemy so that my heroes can live longer battle to deal more damage. And for the spells, I use Gaia's Renewal for supplementary healing and Sundering Purgatory for the defense down. Let's see them in action. I have speed tuned Bran to go first to apply the Sundering Purgatory and also boost up everyone's attack up and defense up. And Hector will be the second to apply the increased damage taken, followed by Geralt to nuke the enemy. And then Bachelard will apply his ultimate to apply mostly his ignite debuff. And take notice of how much damage dealt by the ignite debuff when the enemy takes the turn. The ignite debuff will be affected by the attack buff, so the more attack he has, the more damage he will deal. So without the attack buff, the damage dealt by the ignite will be around about 463, and with the attack buff, it will be dealing around about 600 to 700 damage. Right, Kara has been boosted up here, and how Bachelard gains this bonus attack is because I have equipped him in the curse set, so that he will be able to apply more ignite debuff on the enemy. So we have already reached level 22 on the guild boss in round 4. So let's see how long we can sustain during this battle. Alright, so defense down cast by Bran again, followed by the attack buff. And now Hector applies his ultimate ability here. Right, that is around about 600 to 700 damage from the ignite with the attack buff on Bachelard. Currently, I also equip Geralt with a curse set, so he is able to bonus attack to charge up his rage meter. So the more times he is able to gain this bonus attack, the faster he can recharge that rage meter to quickly open up his Asura status or Asura state to deal more damage. Right, Asura state is now activated. Probably the boss is attacking Bachelard since he has the least amount of health right now. That's 3, whoa, that's 5 ignite debuff. Alright, we survived until round 8. But luckily Bachelard is able to survive that. That's the defense down from Bachelard before he gets knocked out here. Can we reach level 30 here? With Bachelard out of the game right now. But that's Hector's ultimate ability, followed by his bonus turn. Alright, we are almost at level 30 guild boss. seems that Garo has much more sustainability compared to like Hector and Bachelard, because he has a skill to perform a lifesteal to recover a portion of his health whenever he's been attacked. And with the defense up buff, it allows him to survive even longer. So we have already reached level 30 with this team composition. Right, there's another bonus attack from Garo. So if the boss targets him, right, with his single target attack, then he'll be able to perform more counter attack to deal more damage. Hopefully he can survive this single target attack here. Yep, lucky the deflect comes in on the right time. Okay, Garo is down. And now finally left Bran. Bran is pretty tanky because I have him equipped in a revival set, so he can heal himself each time he takes his turn. Probably it will end around round 19 or 18. Right, so we have already achieved around about 757,000 damage on the guild boss. Alright, so let's check out the battle report. So this is my new record using this team composition. So what do we get? Only 5-star equipment, some speed and focus, and a gut ring. So in this battle report, we are able to survive until round 20, with the most damage dealt by Garo around about 368,000, followed by Bachelard at 202 or 203,000 damage, and third would be Hector with 159,000 damage, and last but not least we have Bran here. This is the amount of damage taken. Bran will be taking the most damage since he has the highest amount of defense and survived the longest, followed by Garo. Then Bachelard and Hector are roughly the same. And Bran has the most healing because he has the revival set equipped on him. So that's a showcase on using Bachelard as a defense down debuffer hero in this team composition. Alright, so let's check out Bachelard's performance in Bane Wraith, on how fast he can speed farm the No Man's Land dungeon along with his allies. So I'll skip the formation to show you the team. And in this team I have Bolin, Jacob, Scarlet and Bachelard. Bolin is here to use her AoE attack to wipe out the first wave of wolves, and she'll be also using the Smoldering Flames to help her nuke down the enemies. Jacob on the other hand will be here to perform his multi-attack and joint attack to break down the boss shield. Scarlet is here to apply some bleeding effect, so the more negative effect is on the boss. Bachelard will be able to perform multiple throws using his ultimate ability. And finally, Bachelard is here to showcase his abilities. And for the spells, I have Smoldering Flames to deal damage to the first wave and Southern Purgatory to maximize the damage output of my heroes here. So let's see them in action. So at the start of the battle, Bolin will wipe out the wolf with her AoE attack, supported by the Smoldering Flames. And she'll perform her basic attack here with the Southern Purgatory, followed by Scarlet to apply some bleeding effect. She's able to apply 1 to 3 bleeding effect on the enemy. And third would be Jacob, followed by Bachelard with his ultimate ability to throw the spears. Right, so we have the enemy's health down to below 50% right now. Hopefully we can wipe out the boss before he is able to generate his shield. Alright, that was pretty close. I'll run this battle another 2 more times to get an average time on how fast we can take down Bane Wraith in No Man's Land dungeon. Bully is quite useful here because she's able to provide additional support damage whenever her allies attack. So she's best synergizes well with heroes that is able to perform multiple joint attacks such as like Bachelard, Scarlet, Jacob and Arendelle. Alright, so now we see that Scarlet applies 3 bleeding effect, which allows Bachelard to throw more than 1 to 2 spears. Previously in the previous battle, you only see that Scarlet is only able to apply 1 bleeding, and now she's able to apply 3 bleeding effect here. Right. So that is down for the second round. Right, let's check out the third multi-battle here. Alright, so Scarlet will perform her bleeding again. Luckily she's able to apply 3 bleeding effects, so you can see the maximum potential of Bachelard's ultimate. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that was 6 attacks from Bachelard. So it seems that the ignite damage, right, will deal damage first before the bleeding picks perform the damage. Alright, so there you have it, 3 multi-battles. Let's check out how fast it takes to run. So it takes around an average of 55 seconds compared to my other team composition, which is using Arendelle instead of Bachelard. It's around about 50 seconds. So this is the No Man's Land dungeon, where I'll be showcasing Bachelard's skills on how fast he can speed farm this Flame Lizard along with his allies. So this is the heroes that I'll be using for Flame Lizard. I have William to apply the defense down, and also the Smoldering Flames to nuke the first enemies in the first wave. Sarah will be supporting him with her trait, which applies the AoE attack whenever the enemy's health drop below 50%. Scarlet on the other hand will apply the bleeding effect so that Bachelard ultimate ability will be able to perform multiple spear throws, and Bachelard is here to showcase his abilities. At the start of the battle, William will apply the Smoldering Flames followed by his AoE attack and finish off by Sarah with her trait. And now we are on the second wave where the boss is located. William will apply the Sundering Purgatory for the defense down, and followed by Scarlet with 1 bleeding effect there. And then to finish off, Bachelard will apply his ultimate ability. And if the boss manages to survive, the Ignite will deal some damage to knock him out. So let's run this battle like 3 times to get an average time on how fast it takes to speed farm this Flame Lizard with Bachelard. Alright, sometimes Scarlet is able to apply 3 bleeding effect, so it allows Bachelard to perform multiple spear throws on the enemy here. So now we have 3 bleeding effect on the enemy. That means he can throw at least 4 spear throws and finish off the enemy without having the Ignite to kill the enemy there. Alright, so here's the third battle. And once this battle is done, then we will take the average time. If you are not lucky to get Sarah through the Advanced Summit Crystal, or if you have not finished the Void Tower Heart, probably you can replace Sarah with another like attacker hero such as like Hydresia or Valeria. Right, so let me end this battle. So the average battle duration will be around about 31 seconds with this team composition for Flame Lizard. Now let's check Bachelard performance in Roaring Tulpa, stage 2. Alright, so I have these heroes which are the same as I used for Guild Boss. So I have Garrel, Bachelard as my main damage nukers. And Brand will be here to protect them with his shield and attack up and defense up buff. While Thomas is here to perform some crowd control on the enemies with his stun, and also place the decreased defense on the enemy as well. For the spells, I use Sundering Purgatory and Guy's Renewal for additional healing. So let's check them out. Alright, at the start of the battle, Bane will apply the attack buff to boost up all my attacker heroes to deal more damage. And Thomas will deal her thing. And followed by Bachelard to finish off that guy here. Okay, we managed to taunt the enemy here. The damage output from Bachelard is not sufficient enough to kill the second enemy here. The second big boulder. Otherwise he can nuke out my whole team. So this team is not a 100% success rate. If I replace Bachelard with another better fire attacker hero who manages to knock down that second boulder guy, then it'll be close to 100% success rate because we managed to wipe out the first two waves easily. And only then we need to worry about the boss wave. You can use Hector in place of Bachelard to like apply the increased damage taken. So the target priority for this Helmet Stage 2, Roaring Tulpa, will be the boss, and see how fast we can take him down. So I speed tune Bachelard to go last, so that if he's able to apply that what's it called, bonus attack, then he may be able to get the counter attack from the Roaring Tulpa boss here. For the Roaring Tulpa, how the enemy target is, he will target the enemy with the highest health. So currently Bane has the highest health among all my heroes here, that's why the enemies is targeting the Bane. So let's check out. So that's how the Undying Embers triggered, and now it procs the damage up buff on my Bachelard here. There's a bug with the Undying Embers. Sometimes it procs and sometimes it doesn't. The damage is just taken as it is and possibly can kill Bachelard here. Alright. So now he takes again the damage. So as you notice, the Undying Embers Bachelard trait did not even proc, which causes him to die during that round. So possibly the developers would need to check him out to see how to fix this issue. Currently with this bug, is not so reliable to use Bachelard in this scenario here. Probably the issue why it does not proc is because maybe the coding part detects that maybe that Bachelard already has this damage up buff, so that it does not proc again. That could be the possible issue that may occur. So now we just need to rely on Daryl and Thomas to take down the enemy here. Hopefully we can take him down before he generates the second shield. Oh, Thomas is down as well. Don't think so we can make it. The boss will generate shield now. So actually this is a fail. So Bachelard is not so useful in this area due to the issue with his trait, and his ignite does not do much damage here. So let's check him out in the lower stages like stage 12 and see how he works there. I'll use the same team composition, but this time stage 12 instead of the Helmet stage 2. Alright, so Hell Stage 2 does not have those two boulders, so it will be much more easier to take down these enemies. If your team composition works in Hell Mode Stage 2, it will also work in Stage 12. So the first wave is defeated easily. And the minions on the first wave have very low health here. So you can just use an AE fire nuker such as Valeria to quickly wipe out all these enemies to save some time. Basically to speedrun this Roaring Tulpa. Okay. Alright, we should now reach to the boss. So the target priority will be same, which is to target the boss here. And the boss, I think he also have this counter attack mechanism in place as well. Alright. So it triggers. Alright, so it triggers the Undying Embers trait from Bachelard. So this time the boss will counter attack Garo since he's the one who he's the last one who charges up to 6 attacks on his counter attack meter there. For Roaring Tulpa stage 1 to 12, he will not generate this shield, so it will be easier to defeat him. Just that he will generate these 4 boulders that will encircle him, and if you are not able to defeat him before he is able to generate those 4 boulders, then he will use the same AoE true damage nuke to wipe out all of your heroes. Alright, so Garo basically finish off the boss. Probably I should replace Garo with someone else. Let's check the battle report. Basically, as you notice, Bachelard deals the least amount of damage compared to an epic hero here, Thomas, who is performing the counter attack as well. Garo as well as both Garo and Thomas is performing the counter attack. That's why they can deal so much damage. And this damage taken followed by the healing dealt. Alright, so let's try Hell Stage 1 and see how it works. Probably this one is easier to clear the wave because the enemy here will have less health. Alright, one down. Let's go here. So at least for Hell Mode Stage 1, Bachelard is able to take his turn to showcase his damage output here. Alright, the first wave is down. Now we need to deal with the second wave here. Thomas comes in time with his defense down, followed by Garo's ultimate. And the reason why Garo can also deal so much damage is because he also applies the attack up buff on himself. Let's quickly check his skills. Check. Okay. Yeah. So basically, the reason why Garo can deal so much damage is because he has this attack up and defense pierce up. So even without Bran applying that attack up buff, he is able to increase his damage output through that, which makes Garou a much more better hero compared to Bachelard. Because like Garou, he can do counter attack and lifesteal, which increases his survivability. Second is he's able to apply attack up buff on himself to increase the damage, whereas for Bachelard, he doesn't have these such abilities here. And third, Garou has this defense up pierce and he deals more damage on the enemy if the enemy has positive effect. So this improves the damage output on Garou even without needing to rely on ignite or any negative effect that's placed on him. Alright, so we'll need to destroy that massive shield on the second turn here before the enemy attacks. Alright, that's the Undying Embers that proc on Bachelard. I think the star of the show will be Garou, since he's doing most of the heavy lifting here. Alright, Bachelard finish off the enemy. Okay, let's check the battle result. So as you can see, like for like Roaring Tulpa, most of the damage is dealt by Garou, followed by Thomas, and then Bachelard. Thomas have the similar amount of attack stats like Bachelard, and the extra damage dealt by Thomas is through his counter attack. So the ignite debuff that is placed by Bachelard cannot come close to Thomas' counter attack damage as well. And this is Bane damage taken, followed by Garou here. This is the healing dealt. So if you're wondering whether to use Bachelard for Roaring Tulpa, I would recommend to be used like for stage 12. However, for Hell stage 1 and Hell stage 2, it might be a little problematic until his trait is revamped to make him able to sustain the enemy attacks, and also boost up his ignite negative damage. That means his ignite debuff damage on the enemies, because currently the damage dealt is too little. Alright, so let's check out Bachelard in Ash Magisteria. So probably as you know that Ash Magisteria is the same element as Bachelard, so this means he is not able to do 50% more damage through his skills. So I'll just try at stage 12 since it's easier for him to showcase that. So let me remove my normal team. Patricia, Acorn, Santis, may try with a tank team, because I know that Bachelard will not be able to sustain the attack because he's too squishy. The enemies will like easily kill him there. Alright, so Hadrisha is the first to go since she has the highest speed here. And the good thing about Hadrisha is she already is buff up, so her trait now deals more damage. And I have Hadrisha ascended to 2, so her bonus attack on her trait would deal maximum amount of damage, which is 80%. And now the role of Bachelard in this Ash Magisteria will be to apply the defense down and supported with the ignite negative effect damage here. Alright, so that's the defense down. Probably if you want to use him as like a supporter hero instead of just attacker, I'll need to build him with more speed so that he can cast the defense down, followed by a nuker such as like Hydrisia to deal damage during the defense down there. Hydrisia is quite good in Ash Magisteria since most of her attacks are AoE, which allows you to wipe out all the fire imps easily that is surrounding the boss. And this will take a while to take down the boss because we are not relying on poison. Because poison will deal much more damage as is based on the enemy's max health. And for Bachelard to shine here, right, he needs to be paired with another hero that is capable of applying those debuffs. So the more debuff on the enemies, right, he can stack more ignite debuff here. Alright, the boss now has 49% health. Alright, that's 3 buff there. The boss will deal more and more damage because the more fire imps that is killed by your heroes will increase his damage here. As you can see, Dying Flame increased the damage by 4% until 30, so he'll gain around 130% attack stats. So you need to kill the boss as quick as possible before you keep on regenerating the fire imps to deal more damage to your heroes here. So based from this performance of Bachelard, is not really great for like speed farming Ash Magisteria. If the damage dealt from his ignite is really too low. If the ignite deals damage like comparable to like a poison damage, or if it has extra benefits like each ignite will reduce the damage dealt by the enemies as well as the healing efficiency on them, that will give a benefit of using Bachelard in this team, because it's not just playing the role of an attacker but a supporter as well. Now the boss has around about 25% stack of what? Dying Flame. The reason why the battle becomes pretty long is because the boss also has the ability to heal himself, which makes it a pretty lengthy battle. If this team does not have Hackgreen here, right, Bachelard will already die in this round. So you need to build team around Bachelard in order for him to perform. Alright, 1% health. Then assume that he'll be down in this round. Alright, so let's check out the battle report here. So as you can see, most of the damage dealt is from Hydrisia because her AoE attack also deals damage to the fire imp, that's why her damage output is pretty high here. And as you can see here, the damage dealt by Bachelard is already merely around about 106 or 107,000. And this is the damage taken. It's much more higher compared to Hackgreen and Blackhorn, because as an attacker hero he doesn't have much defense, and Hydrisia takes less damage than Bachelard because She's a stronger element in this Ash Magisteria, and she has the ability to deflect fire elements attack and receive 50% less damage. And this is the healing dart by Blackhorn from his ultimate ability as well as the summon totem. Alright, so let's check a Bachelard in Arena and see how he performs there. Alright, so I found a team. Let's try this team out. Alright, let's try Bachelard. Protected by Brand and God Fairy. Yeah, try one more person there. That's a supporter attacker hero. So alright, since this Bachelard is able to perform multiple bonus attack, he'll synergize well with Bullying, because whenever she applies the induction on the enemy, and if every attack the enemy gets, then the enemy will receive this induction damage, which is based on Bullying's total attack stats. And induction is works similarly to Ignite, just that the damage is instant. So let me disable Mitesia's ability to prevent her from healing her allies. Oh, so that's dangerous. Right, so let's try out Fire Strike, ultimate ability from Bachelard to take down Mitesia. And do take note that induction negative effect that is applied by Bullying is not counted as a debuff to apply the additional lightning throw combo attack. Only the one that is not a special negative effect like defense down and unhealable will be treated as a negative effect that allows him to apply multiple throws. So let's try on Mitesia. Alright, so let's heal up everyone and take down the Lux. And probably you can steal Natalia's critical rate up. And cleanse away and heal Bachelard here. Since oh, close. He's killed by... Okay, let's take down Mitesia here. So they have no revivers. Let's take out Zlux. But let's revive Bachelard back. So Bachelard is pretty squishy, as you can see here. So he can easily be taken out by a blue element hero, such as Natalia or Hydresia. Now we will use Bachelard Power Burn special ability to take down Zlux. And now you can play with enemy brand here. Let's prevent brand from healing. Deal some damage. Alright, apply more ignite on brand. So as you notice, Bachelard likes to perform this bonus attack, which allows Bullying to charge up the attack counter for her. So he makes a good synergy with her Bullying. Alright, so let's try out another team here. Let's try out this guy. Bachelard doesn't deal much damage, so probably if you're using him in a attack speed team, he's not able to wipe out the enemy as quickly as possible compared to Avera or Valeria. So let's steal that Shield of Mercy from Mitasia here. Protect our heroes. And let's use Fire Strike on Luna Melissa to prevent her from stunning our heroes here. And Hecarim, the enemy's Hecarim can deal high amount of damage if they are built with high amount of defense stats. Let's check the info out. Let's cleanse away those stun on Bachelard for him to perform his second attack here. Right. Oh no. Hopefully you can prevent Luna Melissa from... Yep, you prevented Luna Melissa from taking her turn. So now let's take down Hecarim to decrease their defense. And now you will disable Mitasia's ability to cleanse away negative effect. But Fairy is quite useful here to crowd control the enemies. Prevent them from using their ultimate ability like Revive or increase max health. So let's apply the defense down to deal more damage on Mitasia here. Okay. There's no buff to steal, so let's use our basic attack. So this is like a very slow run. Let's remove the attack down. Hands down. Let's take down Mitasia. And finally we got 2 more heroes here. Let's disable Hecarim from healing. If this was if I replace Bachelard with another powerful AoE attacker, right, this battle would be completed within like 6 rounds. Let's apply the induction on Bran. Let's steal away his Shield of Mercy again. Apply defense down. So if you don't have high focus on Bachelard, right, you wouldn't be able to apply those ignite. So there you have it. That's how Bachelard works in Arena. I would not recommend you to use him there because he doesn't deal much damage through his ignite. So most of the damage dealt is from Bullion, followed by Bachelard, and then supported by Fairy and Mitasia here. These are the damage taken. Basically this reveals how much damage dealt to the health, and finally the healing dealt. After testing Bachelard, here is my review based on his performance. So there are 4 aspects that makes him not so desirable hero. The first thing is he's pretty squishy. He has a low base health and defense, which makes him an easy target to take down, especially for water element heroes. And at high difficulty such as like Hell Mode Stage 1 and Hell Mode Stage 2, such as in Roaring Tulpa or Ash Magisteria, he can easily be taken down by the enemies. And his trait is pretty situational, where it only activates whenever he attacks an enemy who has the ability to counter attack him. And he will not gain this damage up buff, which provides him with a 30% damage up if he's unable to activate this Undying Embers, which makes his trait pretty situational. And apart from that, his Ignite deals very little damage, and you require a high amount of focus stats to apply the Ignite. Otherwise, you will not be able to apply the Ignite to make use of his Ignite debuff to deal more damage. Here is how I will change his skills to make Bachelard even a better fire legendary hero. The first thing I will change is his Undying Embers trait. I'll change it to be similar to Gangelo and Scarlet, where he's able to boost up the Ignite damage by 100%, which makes him a good synergy with other Ignite heroes such as Asrina and Hassel. And apart from that, since he is lacking the health and defense stats, I will change his power burn to a passive skill similar to Garrel, where Garrel has the ability to counter attack and perform lifesteal. I will change Bachelard's power burn to a passive skill to allow him to heal himself 3% of his max health per Ignite debuff each time the enemy takes their turn when they are inflicted with the Ignite. And if the enemy has 4 Ignite debuff on them, it will automatically apply the defense down to the enemy. So this allows him to prioritize on his ultimate ability and basic attack. And since his damage output is pretty low, due to the lack of attack stats, since you will need to prioritize on the focus to apply the Ignite, I will change his Fire Strike to apply an attack up buff on himself first before he performs the attack. Maybe like 50% more attack, so that he'll deal more damage through his Ignite as well as his combo attack. These are the changes that I would recommend to apply to him to make him much more useful compared to his current state where he's pretty squishy. His trait is currently very buggy right now because there are some times where the Undying Embers works well, which is able to negate the damage, and sometimes the Roaring Tulpa just bypass his Undying Embers and just knock him out without much explanation there. Alright, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you like this video, do subscribe if you haven't, and ring the notification bell to stay up to date whenever I upload a new video. Also, if you like to support my work, you can head over to patreon.com/Ayumilove to support me there. And to learn more about Awaken Chaos Era, you can visit my website at ayumilove.net. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!